YouTube. This will be live on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
share the link later on. So.
Got it. Thank you.
And this is where I show my total professionalism and look at my phone to make sure that YouTube is working properly.
That's fine. I can't tell you the number of times I've shown my professionalism. I've had my screen while I'm recording with the lyrics because I don't know the lyrics yet from the song.
There we go. Good. Okay, we see you. We see me. We sound fine. So here we are. Hi, Sophia.
Hi.
Hi. So this came about because you had reached out to me over Instagram and said, would you mind reacting to one of my videos? And I was like, I can one up that one. Why don't you come on here and we have a little chat and talk about things? Because you have a story to tell and everyone has a story to tell. And that's why I want to bring people on here so we can talk about those things. But before we get into that, you have a YouTube channel.
I do, yes. It's Muscles and Music.
Yes, so it must be about seafood and you analyze classical music, right?
Absolutely, yes. That's exactly what it's about.
Yes, my top tier research team working.
Good job.
Thank you. Yes. No, in all seriousness, muscles and music. You work out, you sing, you're a woman of all trades, and that's fantastic. Yeah. When did the well, we'll get into that.
Okay.
What inspired you to get into the YouTube game?
Voice play, surprisingly. I watched them. Well, so I'd always been a singer, like my whole life. And I actually did try to put videos up on Facebook a couple of years ago, but it just I wasn't able to really do it. I really couldn't, stick with it. And then I started watching Voice Play and seeing their videos. And I was like, you know what, if they can do it, I can do it. I can learn how to do it. So yeah, basically the desire to make it big as a singer, but also the real inspiration came from Voice Play, the guys that I greatly admire.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, fantastic group. I've had the privilege of reacting to them several times, along with a lot of other great groups. And the other aspect of that, you started singing on here, and you also showcase your workout routines, get into the muscle talk and so forth. You are actually training for your first competition. Is that correct?
Yes. My first bodybuilding show is 8 weeks and 6 days away from today. So I'm not counting.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. Well, that's fantastic. So
April 27th.
What is April 27th is the day. Mark it on your calendars, ladies and gentlemen. 27th. I just put Sophia's YouTube channel in the chat, so you can check that out. Please go to her channel, hit subscribe, check out her videos, comment on them, like them, do all that fun stuff because the algorithm tells us to. We love the algorithm. Yes, we love the algorithm. So, but with that also, you talk about going into your first competition. What started you on the workout path, the muscle path, if you will, the path of strength?
The muscle.
Check that out. Check that out. There you go. That's the money shot right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. Hit the button right there if you like that. That's what we want to see.
So it actually kind of ties into my story a little bit. I know you have I'm sure you have a system, so I won't tell, everything just yet. But I'd always, no, you don't. Okay. Wow. So professional. So I'd always, when I was in college, I was student manager of my men's baseball team. So I, wanted to be like the guys. I wanted to lift. I wanted to work out. Even before then, I had always kind of wanted to lift, and I'd been in the gym and things like that, but not really to the extent in college. And then I got out of college and unfortunately wasn't really able to keep up with lifting and stuff because I went right from college to a master's degree. And that took a lot of time, working and getting a master's degree at the same time. So that obviously took a great deal of time. And then during the pandemic, I actually suffered from a very severe eating disorder. I'd always kind of had anorexic tendencies. Actually, if I'll show you my professionalism. So I had gone from 140 pounds to 118. And I told my husband, at the time, my now husband, we were engaged, that I wanted to be 100 pounds for my wedding. I kid you not, this is what I looked like. Mm-hmm. And that was July of 2020. So I told my husband at the time I wanted to be 100 pounds for our wedding. I was not. I was about 115. That was my wedding.
Well, you still look wonderful.
Well, thank
you.
you.
He looks great.
Thanks. Yeah. But
the fact is, it's not about that. It's about you and your health.
Yeah. So I actually we decided ultimately we looked into bodybuilding because that way I could eat and lift at the same time, but I could learn to eat healthier and I could still eventually compete in a show. So that's how we got into it.
You talk about it was during the pandemic that kind of switched off in your brain. Was this something that you had kind of dealt with a lot of your life in the past, or it kind of like it was like in the back there and finally it just happened to find an avenue to come forward?
In high school, it kind of really started in high school. In high school at graduation, near graduation, I told my mom and dad that I wanted to wear a size 6 dress. And at the time I was wearing, I think it was like 8 or 10. So I told my dad that I wanted to stop eating. And he goes, yeah, you please don't do that. Because his one sister actually passed away from anorexia. And he said, please don't do that. Let's not do that. So we got on Weight Watchers and I was eventually able to wear size 6 to graduation. But then, during college, I had the same tendencies. Like I would stop eating for a while because I wanted to be, like I said, I wanted to be like my guys. I wanted to be fit. I wanted to be attractive. If, as a 18, 19-year-old, you're like, well, I want to get the attention. And I was with a group of 30 some boys and, I had crushes on some of them, but I knew that it would be like dating a brother. So it was weird, but it was, like you wanted to be that girl for college. And so I did stop eating. And then a couple times and I went and got, help. Went to therapy. But then after I left college, like I said, I went right to getting a master's degree and working. So I wasn't really able to get the help. And then during the pandemic, it just kind of exploded. And I just decided that I wasn't going to eat anymore. And I probably dropped 20 pounds in about 2 months, maybe a little longer, but it definitely was not easy. And I would work. Not only did I not eat, but I would work out every single day. And I would
on top of not eating. My goodness.
Yeah. My eating was 2 blueberries at lunch and like whatever my mom made for dinner, and I would try to eat it really quick so that I could make myself sick. I know it's a little graphic and weird. Just unfortunately,
it was going from anorexia to bulimia. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, because I didn't want to. Because I was convinced that like if I ate anything, I'd be 600 pounds, and I'd be like the 600-pound woman. And I actually it's called body dysmorphic disorder.
I was actually just going to bring that up if that was an issue. Yeah,
it is. I weigh right now. I'm at 140. And I still am like, I need to get down for my stage weight. I need to get down to probably about 130 something, 135, maybe a little less, or maybe a little more. I still tell myself that I'm fat and I am not going to ever be, skinny and anything like that. So yeah, body dysmorphic disorder is a real thing. I'm actually doing 2 parts in my, my show. It's called the Body Transformation Challenge and my actual competition. And the Body Transformation Challenge, you get to tell your story in 250 words. So my trainer said, definitely do that because it's inspirational. But you take pictures. It's a 12-week program. So you take pictures. I took mine January 23rd, and then you take pictures 12 weeks later when you see the results. And I was trying to tell myself that I was fat. So I took the picture this is from January and that's from yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So sorry, it's a little weird.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. So that's about a month. But yeah, body dysmorphia is a real thing and it's pretty frustrating, but
this is one of the things I think that, the modern era has brought a lot more people forward to talk about, because I hear more now than I ever have in the 48 years I've been on this planet about people who are going through these things mentally with body dysmorphia and anorexia, bulimia, neuroses, depression, various different aspects of it. And, you know, it's great to see someone like yourself come out the other side, take control of it, and get involved with something that can become a positive obsession that can help with positive outcomes and pay dividends.
Right.
Because, as you know, it's so easy probably to, once your brain gets you into that mindset of always putting yourself down and you shouldn't eat because this, that, don't you want to look good? Don't you want to be popular? Don't you want everyone in the world to admire you and all this stuff? It's so much easier to go down that path to self-destruction and ultimately self-termination,
right,
than it is to do that. So the fact you're able to turn that corner and say, no, I'm not going this way, I'm going this way, is a big win. And I want to say congratulations to you, and I'm very proud of you that you were able
to do that. Yeah, I've actually had self-termination thoughts. I have depression, anxiety, and have had quite a few self-termination thoughts. I will admit, I'll be forward, I have harmed in the past, but it's not, I don't see it as I wasn't in complete control. It was my brain telling me, well, you're not good enough. So that's what I had to, that's what I ultimately did. But I guess a lot of it a lot of the stuff ties back to my story. So if you want, I can go into that.
You go right ahead. This is one of the things I've seen in your talks on your YouTube channel and on social media. I'm like, this is somebody I want to tell their story here. I want the story out there. So please.
So I have had 3 major open heart surgeries. I don't know if you can see, it's kind of hard. I was born on December 12th of 1993. And I came on, we in my family say I came on my own December 12th. I was supposed to be born December 13th. I'm a devout Roman Catholic. And we believe that I was actually born on Our Lady of Guadalupe's feast day. And we believe that she interceded and helped me live, because if you look at my medical history, I medically should not be alive. My mom and dad found out about me at a regular sonogram appointment in October of 93. And at the time, the doctors said that I had about a 1% chance of living. They told my mother that after telling her that the baby that she was carrying had a major heart condition. So obviously my dad got a little upset and pulled them out of the room and said, yeah, you don't say that. You tell me and I'll tell my wife, because it's a little frustrating and frightening. So they found out in, I think it was like mid-October of 93, and my mom had to be bedridden for until I was born, because had I been born premature, I definitely would not have survived. So I was born December 12th of 93. And my mom also had a toddler at the time. My brother was born in November of 91. So he was about a year and a half or so. So she was dealing with that and making sure that I wasn't born premature. So I was born in, I'm from Pittsburgh. And at the time, the hospital I was born in, they had to actually rush me to Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh, which at the time was like a couple blocks away. It was in Oakland, PA. It was near the University of Pittsburgh. And so they rushed me there. And at 36 hours old, they had to balloon my mitral valve, because I was born with what's called mitral valve and aortic valve stenosis, meaning my mitral and aortic valve was almost fused closed at birth. And I think my mom said I was like 7 pounds or something when I was born. I was like a normal healthy weight. But they had to balloon my mitral valve because they had to get the blood flowing. So my dad had gone with me and in the ambulance, and at 36 hours old, they started to balloon, and they couldn't get it. They could not get it, couldn't get it. Came out, told my dad at 3 a.m. that if they didn't get it this last time, that they'd have to let me go. So they did. They got it. And then they found out, my mom and dad found out I think it was a couple months later, that I had what's called pyloric stenosis. So I would be eating and I would just throw up, and like I couldn't keep food down, and I had to be a certain weight in order to have my first surgery. So I had pyloric stenosis causes severe and forceful vomiting because the enlargement of the pylorics causes a narrowing of the opening, which blocks the stomach. So basically, my stomach was blocked. So I had to be a certain weight. So there are pictures of me from when I was an infant with one of the feeding tubes in my nose. I had the oxygen tube around on my face. And I would be losing weight rapidly because I couldn't keep food down. So they were able to get that under control. And then September, I actually had my first open heart on September 11th of 94. September is not a good month for me. I'll get to that in a minute.
Unfortunately.
So I was 9 months old at the time. And the night before my first open heart surgery, my heart went into cardiac arrest 5 times. The only way I was saved was the CPR that was taught to the doctors and nurses about 5 years prior to my birth. Which is also why it's super important to learn CPR. And I really highly recommend people learn it because it can save people. I have heard stories. I am a living story of it saving people. I mean, I was an infant, but it still works. So the last time, they actually called my mom and dad each time my heart went into cardiac arrest. So my mom and dad had to come into the hospital each time. The last time I was hooked up to what's called ECMO. I forget exactly what it stands for. But it's like the premier, life-saving, life-sustaining, life support. And they said that they actually told my mom and dad that if my heart went into cardiac arrest a 6th time, they didn't know if they'd be able to save me.
Because when you go into cardiac arrest, it damages the heart tissue. And anybody out there that knows anybody that has had a heart attack, it significantly weakens the heart. And more you have them, the weaker it gets. My father died in this situation, so I know what I'm talking about. But yes, go ahead.
And my heart was already weak because it wasn't pumping sufficiently because my valve was almost fused closed. And actually, when they ballooned my mitral valve, if you know the mitral valve, I'm sure you do if you know cardiology at all, there's the 3 little leaflets. They actually tore one of the leaflets. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they saved me, but I'm not too happy that they tore one of my leaflets.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, pros and cons. So I went into open hearts. I had my open heart surgery at 9 months. I was fine after that. I actually looked like a healthy baby as opposed to an orangutan because I have pictures of me from when I was before my surgery and after my surgery. And I kid you not, I look like a baby orangutan. I'm that skinny and my hair's just sticking up. So yeah, they had to actually replace my mitral valve because they tore one of the leaflets. So I now have what's called mitral valve regurgitation. So every time my heart beats, a little bit goes back in because the valve is what is called a St. Jude valve. So it's plastic. So it doesn't completely close all the way. And actually, if you listen closely, if you're in the same room, my heart ticks. It actually sounds somewhat like a metronome. It's very annoying when you're laying in bed, trying to sleep, but at least I'm alive. Yes. So then at the age of 3, I almost drowned because I'm stubborn. And listen, my maiden name was Olson and my family's from the South. So that'll just tell you where my stubbornness comes from. I'm Swedish and Southern by heritage, and Russian. So I am incredibly stubborn.
Dangerous trifecta right there.
Absolutely.
Yes. Which is probably why you are still here to this day.
Something like that. There's a reason. But we had traveled to Toronto, and my brother is obviously a year and a half older than I am. So he was I think he was 4 4.5, 5 at the time, and I was 3 or something. I don't remember exactly. I don't remember this. I was just told this. But we had gone to Toronto, and my dad and my brother and I had gone swimming, and my dad told me to sit on that little like where the water goes in, like the little shelf kind of thing where the water goes in to like filter it, while he and my brother went swimming. So apparently I decided I wanted to follow them, and I jumped off the shelf, and my dad turned around and I was underwater, and he grabbed me, pulled me out, and he said he had nightmares after that, obviously. So then, because my story just keeps getting crazier. At the age of 11, or I'm sorry, at the age of 7, I had my second open heart surgery in Boston because my cardiothoracic surgeon had moved from Pittsburgh to Boston, and we wanted to follow him because he was pretty much the
Children's
only
Hospital.
Yep. He was pretty much
because another reason why I wanted to have you on here, my wife is also a patient of that hospital. When she was 5,
really?
she had a VSD.
Oh,
and,
my.
Living in Vermont, where I am, her parents had to bring her from Vermont to Boston. She was there for about a week or so.
Wow.
Having that done at 5 years old. And
wow.
She, like you, has the scar right here. And
yeah.
She also
she's
has
part of
the holes. She has the holes in the top of her thighs.
I have those.
And those are things
that
I know weigh heavy on her physical look at herself because of it. All this is huge traumatic situations. And the PTSD that you're going through, probably, I'm going to guess, was a factor in the eating disorders that you've been talking about on here. So.
I don't know if you can see it, but I actually have marks right here.
Yep.
From the when I was they've like I've had IVs in my head because they couldn't get veins. I forget what this was from. I have marks. I won't show, but I have like marks from underneath my scar into this 2 sides from the wires. But so at 7, I had my second open heart surgery, and they decided they wanted to pull the cord or the line too soon, and my lungs flooded with blood. So we had to deal with that. I had my second open heart a month before 9/11. I was in Boston a month before. I think I had my second open heart on like August 11th or August 12th of 01. So I literally missed 9/11 by a month because that was where one of the planes was from. So I really realized that until a couple of years ago. I was like, oh, damn. Also, my language can get a little, but I'll try to keep it.
Oh, it's okay.
Okay, good. I figured
you tell it how you want to tell it.
Yeah. So, and then at
YouTube, you don't like it, please fuck the right off.
At the age of 11,
you go right ahead.
Thank you. At the age of 11, I was eating a push pop, and it slipped and cut the roof of my mouth. So, Holy Saturday of 2005, I had gone swimming, and I love swimming. I absolutely love to swim. I wanted to get out of the water. I was freezing, and I wanted to get out of the water. And my dad's like, okay, something's not right. Like, you never want to leave the water. Like, we have to force you to get out. Like, what is wrong? So I went home and took a nap. And my mom and dad were both like, what's going on? Like, you never take a nap, anything like that. I had 104-degree fever, and I was delusional. So my pediatrician at the time was actually kind enough to come to the house on Easter Sunday and said, okay, please get her into the hospital. Like, something's not right. So we went to Children's Hospital, was still in Oakland at the time. They actually just moved to another part of Pittsburgh probably 10 years ago or so. They were still in Oakland near Pitt, University of Pittsburgh. So they went and did the test. And they called Monday morning and said, get her in here stat. She has endocarditis, which is an infection of the heart that just eats your heart. So and the reason I say the year was I was in the hospital when St. Pope John Paul II died. So my mom's like, I will always remember when St. Pope John Paul II died because we were in the hospital watching it on TV because he was Polish. And my dog, if I disappear, it's because my dog has decided he wants to play ball, and I just hit his sister with his ball. Oops.
That's fine.
Yeah. So my mom's like, I will always remember when Pope John Paul II, St. Pope John Paul II died because you were in the hospital with 104-degree fever, and everybody was upset because my great grandmother was Polish, and so he was Polish, and like apparently my great grandma like freaked out when he was elected Pope. So I was. That's always will always be like. Well, that's how I know. And then at 14, oh, thank you. Now he brought another ball.
Oh, there you go.
14. Yeah, see, ball. I had my third open heart surgery in Boston as well. And I had my surgery on March 10th. And a couple days later, my lung collapsed. And we still don't know how it collapsed. We don't know what happened. But all of a sudden, I was literally laying in bed and breathing like I had just run a marathon. And my mom was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. It's nothing." She went out to the nurse's station like 3 or 4 times and said, "There's something wrong with my daughter." And they're like, "No, she's fine." I wasn't.
No.
No. So
she's turning blue, she's bloated, and everything's beeping. She's fine.
Yeah, she's great. You're good. But they actually had talked about going in again and like inflating the lung. Meanwhile, I'm in the hospital, like in the room. They're standing outside the room. They're like, "Yeah, we might need to go and do surgery again." I'm like, "Oh my God."
Great.
I'm 14. I'm like, everything hurts. I literally walked around like this for a good 2 weeks, if not longer, because they break your breastbone. And I was 14 and looked like I was 90. I couldn't stand up straight. Like it was very painful. And they made me get up. So I had my surgery on a Monday and they made me get up and walk around like the next day. I go, "Fuck all you. I hate you all. My chest hurts." And they're like, "No, you have to get up and move." I'm like, "But I don't want to." So it was a big thing that like the bed would be here and the chair would be like right next to the bed. I literally got up, got in the chair, and I was elated because I was like, I got out of the bed. And my chest hurts. My dad comes in. I'm like, "Daddy, I'm sitting in the chair." And he was like, "Great, that's wonderful." I'm like, "Yeah, now I hate everybody because my chest hurts." But the other funny, there's always funny stories about in my my life because you gotta find something funny. We were in Boston, and what's amazing is I had my open heart surgery on March 10th. I left March 17th. Like I was only in there, and this was a major open heart surgery because I had an aneurysm. They found out that I had an aneurysm on my heart as well. So I was only in the hospital for a week after major open heart surgery. So my dad had gotten the stomach flu, and comes to my hospital room wearing orange on St. Patrick's Day. My mom's like, "We're gonna get shot." I'm like,
I was about to say, wait a minute, St. Patrick's Day. Oh no.
Yeah. The Protestant color in one of the most Catholic cities. And my mom was like, "Oh my God, we're gonna get shot." So we're like running to the cab and like the restaurant because we ended up like going to a restaurant because our flight wasn't until like a couple hours. And then like we went to the airport and my mom's like, "Oh my God, just wear a jacket. Like don't. But we didn't, obviously. But it was like the joke of like you're wearing a Protestant color in a Catholic city, so it was the joke. So then my life stayed somewhat normal until
I could so
college.
go off on a tangent right now, but I respect you too much, and I won't.
Oh no, you can.
No, I can't. I'll get canceled.
Oh, okay. Won't we all eventually?
Yeah, eventually, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, don't even get me started on politics. We will be here forever.
No, let's not go there. Yeah,
let's not go there.
No, this is about you. This is about you.
Oh, thank you. So, my life stayed normal until I decided I wanted to stop eating and be 100 pounds, and then it got better. So I was supposed to compete in my first bodybuilding competition, October 1st of 2022. 6 weeks before the show, on August 5th, I tore my meniscus. I had my suit, like I had ordered my suit. I had the first payment for my suit. I was so mad. So me being stubborn, I was like, I can still compete. And my trainer was like, might not be a good idea. Please don't do that, because well, at the time it happened, we didn't actually know that it was torn. We thought it was just, we thought it was either like tweaked or, what do you call it? Strained or sprained. It wasn't until, like the middle of August that when I had an MRI, that they emailed me and they're like, yeah, you have a right radial meniscus tear. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't compete then. So I decided ultimately, after talking with my husband and my trainer, to drop out of the competition. So it was actually a blessing in disguise, because September 10th, I had a stroke. I was at my husband and I and my one friend, my friend had come over, and the three of us had gone to this one store that's near my husband's and my apartment, and then had gone to a Dunkin' Donuts. And I got home, I literally sat down, opened a Truly, and got violently drunk ill. And I had not even taken a sip of, I had had no alcohol that day. I hadn't taken a sip of anything. So I was like, all right, well, the kids who were like taking the order couldn't take their order to save their souls. So maybe they had left the milk out. Maybe it was a bad milk. Maybe it was like food poisoning, some type of food bug or like stomach bug. And then my eyes started going in two different directions. Yeah. So my husband's a vet tech, and he's also studied human medicine just because he's interested in it. Like, his mom actually wanted to be a nurse. So he had, studied, they'd watched Grey's Anatomy and like House and shows like that, but he'd also studied like actual human medicine. So he was like, okay, something is wrong. I was like, no, I'm fine. It's great. I'm just tired. He was like, we need to call an ambulance. My friend was like, yeah, let's call an ambulance, go to the hospital. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm just going to go to bed, and we're going to do that. Throughout the night, I kid you not, I got sick like 12 times. And my husband actually called a hospital that's relatively close to us and said, there's something wrong with my wife. How long is your ER wait? And they're like, oh, you can't bring her here. And my husband's like, what? And they said, yeah, if there's like an X number of hour wait, we won't see her. And I thought that was illegal, but apparently the only thing they can tell you not to come in, if you are physically there on the property or in the building, they cannot turn you away. But if you call and say, how long's your wait? They can say, we can't, see her because it's, too long of a wait. So this is what I mean. September is not my month. No. So my husband calls my mom and dad my mom at like 9:30 on September 11th and goes, something's wrong with Sophia. She got sick X number of times and her eyes were going in two different directions. I actually had one of those like sleep masks on because I was getting so frustrated and anxious that I couldn't see straight, that he was like, my husband was like, here, just wear the sleep mask. Like, it's fine. We'll figure it out. So my dad books it to our apartment, and we get to this hospital that's near our door. It's like one of those kind of like walk-in hospitals. It's still a hospital, but it's not like an actual like UPMC pass event, things like that. So they were there. I can't see. I can hear everything, and like I know what's going on. I just can't see. They put me in a wheelchair. They take me back to a room, and they're like, all right, well, you're just having vertigo. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, you know what? The one doctor was like, you're on blood thinners, so we'll do a CT scan just to make sure. They found the bleed in the back of the brain. Yep. And they were like, oh, okay, well, you're having a hemorrhagic stroke. And the doctor walks in and goes, there's blood in the back of her brain. And like my husband was silent for a little bit, and like he was like, can I call my mother-in-law? And the doctor's like, yeah. So they called and my mom, like, he told my mom, and she was silent for a good like 10 seconds, and she's like, well, what do we do? And he said, we're gonna ambulance her down to Allegheny General Hospital, which is one of the hospitals in Pittsburgh, and we're just gonna take care of it. I was in the hospital I was in the ICU for about a week, and then like the step down unit for about 5 days. I looked like a drunk person. I couldn't walk straight. My eyes finally stopped going in two different directions. But I couldn't walk straight. I couldn't, like I was really, I called it bumper boating. I would walk and hit off a wall and then just wander to the other side and hit off a wall. It was bad. So they finally released me after 12 days. I went home, I couldn't drive until like December because there was still blood in the back of my brain. So I worked from home for a little bit, and then it was kind of funny. I was matron of honor in my one friend's wedding she got married October like 15th, and then my other friend got married November 11th, and I was in both weddings after having a stroke. The one was on a boat too. I was like, oh my God,
jeez.
Yeah, it was like the Gateway Clipper type thing. But so it wasn't like a, boat. It was a boat, but it wasn't like one of those, like houseboats. Yeah. But yeah, I was on a boat with blood. I was like, this is great. This is just great. And then my other friend got married at a barn, and I was like, all right, fine. Like, that's fine. And they finally released me from, they finally like cleared me of my stroke and like the bleed in the back of the brain in December of 22. And then I had my knees fixed in February of 23 because they weren't going to do it when I had blood in the back of my brain.
No,
they're like, you're on blood thinners and we're not risking that. So yeah,
absolutely not. So what is left on the bingo card for you?
Let's not count. How's that sound? And I've had 2 concussions.
2 concussions. Oh, okay. 2.
2. I hit myself in the back of the head while with a 70-pound fixed barbell, which is what they think actually was a catalyst to my stroke, because it was in the exact same spot. They won't tell us for sure, but it was in the exact same spot. And we think it was just like a weakened vessel. So I had that, and then I was getting up out of a chair in my apartment and hit my head off of one of like this side of the wall, like where it points. Yeah, and I hit my head off of that and had another concussion. So I'm a klutz.
And that's one of those things you need to own.
Yes. I do.
Anybody out there watching this right now, the next time you go to Starbucks and they screw up your order, listen to this story and really think if that really matters that much, okay? This puts into perspective the kind of shit that we're all dealing with, okay? So you're not going through this, probably.
The other fun thing I forgot to tell the other fun thing. I had wisdom teeth.
There's more.
There's always more. I had my wisdom teeth removed when I was it was the summer between my freshman and sophomore year of college. And I was in the hospital for 6 days because they wouldn't listen to my mom when she told them the amount of Coumadin to give me. And then they finally did, and I was fine. And my mom was like, seriously?
This is what thanks a lot, guys.
6 days. 6.
So with all this that has happened, I have to ask, how's your husband doing?
He's good. No, he makes the joke that I'm taking the in sickness and in health thing a little too seriously because it'll be 3.
Exact same line on my wife too.
Yeah, it's we'll be married 3 years in June, and I've already had a stroke, 2 concussions. I injured my foot like the first month we lived in the apartment. I've torn my meniscus. He's like, you need to stop it. So
also, you're setting the bar really high for him. He can't complain about shit.
No,
nothing.
No, he cannot. No, he does. No.
Guess what?
Listen, I almost had brain surgery. They did tell me that if my it didn't stop bleeding, they would have to go in and stop it with brain surgery. And
you have to go in, yeah.
Yep. And surgery for me is always fun because I'm on blood thinners. And when I had my knee done, when I had my knee done, I had to be off my Coumadin for about 5 days. And they did I guess when they had actually gone in to fix my knee, they had tied the tourniquet and the tourniquet snapped and I started bleeding. They fixed it.
They fixed it, but
But
bumps in the road to get there.
Oh, always.
But
I'm
as you
only
said,
30, by the way.
your husband is a vet tech,
Yes,
so
he is.
he has, like you said, he has a working knowledge of kind of these things. Wow, with all
Mhm.
these situations, you married a guy that was a vet tech. On point? No, yes, but it helps. That's what
It
it's all about.
does.
It does definitely help there. So, yeah, because
No.
my wife is not in the situation that you are, of course, but she does
Mhm.
have fibromyalgia. She has chronic fatigue syndrome. She has very high neuroses, just
Mm.
pain all the time. And
Mhm.
I can only do so much because we are a single income family. I'm the only one that works,
Right.
and so she's home. But a lot of just little things of her getting out of bed. Sometimes I have to help her get out of bed, or whatever.
Mhm.
Good days, bad
Mhm.
days, like So
Mhm.
not equivocating this in any way to your situation,
No,
but
it's fine.
it does weigh on the spouses, the partners, however you
Absolutely.
want to refer to it nowadays.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so a big love out to your husband for being there for you and engaging in this
Yeah.
too. And there's plenty of people out there that would say, "Ooh, I can't
I
do this.
can't. Yeah.
This is not the life I want to lead." So
Yeah. I mean,
big shout out
he
to
would
him.
come yeah, he would come in, but he's making sure our furry children don't decide they wanna be all over the apartment, because
Yeah,
obviously with all of my conditions, we're not having real children.
mhm,
So we're having fur children or we're adopting,
that's fine.
but,
Yeah, and
yeah,
that's a
we knew
valid
that
option to look into. My wife and I never contemplated having children. We don't. We have a life chosen daughter that we
yeah.
accept as our own, and we also have our cats. But that's the life we live. Plus, we were involved in the wrestling business together. That's how we met.
Mhm.
We didn't want to. We were so focused on that part of our
Yeah,
lives that we just didn't want anything to take away from
right.
it. Plus, we
Well,
live
I mean,
in each
not
other's pockets all the time.
what's that?
We live in and out of each other's pockets, for over 20 years.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, actually, my husband's trying to get into vet school, and that's a battle and a half. Because he's been a vet tech for 12 years, and he's basically had to put himself through school because
mm,
his family was lower income. I mean, obviously they could pay for school, but he paid for himself, especially because he went to it's called the Vet Tech Institute. It's kind of like the Arts Institute, but it's like specifically for vet techs. And then
mm,
he got into this job he's in now. So he's been trying to get into vet school for I don't know, years.
mhm.
He really applied. He finally applied for the first time last year, because he graduated from Pitt in April last year, so a year ago. But they didn't send him his diploma, and he graduated in April. He got his diploma in August, and the applications were due in September. So
September
yeah,
again.
yes, I know. It's such a great month.
That's a great month.
Um,
Well, it's my wife's
it's a
birthday
great
month,
month.
so I can't say. But
All right,
it
okay,
is what it is. But
yeah.
this is
Um,
not about us.
no,
But so all these ailments that have hit you throughout your life, and you've come back, and you've constantly, because we say in the wrestling business, you're constantly kicking out, and you keep coming
mhm,
back and coming back. So you engage in the workout culture and looking to
mhm.
become get involved in that kind of competition too. What are the health risks for you engaging in that? How far can you take yourself, or do you honestly, consciously know how far you can take yourself? Because the stubborn factor will come into play sometimes. Where I
Oh,
say,
it
"Oh no,
does.
this is fine. This is fine." You know.
That's why how we didn't know my knee was torn.
Mhm.
I will tell you that, and I will get into your question in a minute. I will tell you how we found out my knee was torn. I was leg pressing 325 for 15 sets, at like I forget how many reps. I think it was 3 reps for 15 sets.
Mm.
And I got off the machine and my knee went like that. And I was like,
Uh,
okay, well, yeah, I just equated because I had equated it, and I was like, I just leg press 15,000 pounds is about a car.
right.
So I'm fine. I can keep going. So I did the rest of my exercises, got on the treadmill for an hour and ran on it. Yeah. Okay. You know where this is going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
It hurt. I was
Mhm.
crying basically
Uh,
by the time I was done. I was like, that was a bad decision. So that's how we found out my knee was torn. Well, we found out my knee was really injured. We thought it was just tweaked at the time. I thought it was just tweaked at the time, until I couldn't walk on it. and it really hurt. But so with my kind of like answering your question, I actually do have limitations. So the bodybuilding diet, like my diet specifically, is 1,200 calories with 150 grams of protein, 35 grams of fat, and 75 grams of carbs. So it's technically supposed to be a little bit less than that, but because of my heart condition and my past history of eating disorder, my cardiologist said absolutely nothing below 1,200 calories. So my trainer said, okay, well, I don't love that, but I'm not going to go against your cardiologist. So we are doing a ton of cardio. She said, obviously, you know, I told her, you know, I can't sustain a run. Like, for example, this is my one of my training programs.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And she was like, it's a 20-minute sustained jog. And I was like, I can't. I've tried. I cannot sustain a jog. I cannot sustain a run for 20 minutes. She said, that's fine. Just, you know, do what you can. So I do like this tomorrow. I'm going to start jogging for 90 seconds and walking for 90 seconds and do that 7 times. And then lifting, I have to be careful because it's the same reason, I couldn't be a power lifter because the more you lift, the more strain on your heart. And my heart's already strained enough as it is. My heart is actually, if you think about it, my heart is actually pretty damaged. And so if I put a ton of strain on it and it explodes, that's not a good thing.
No.
So the I don't really have any limitations other than like my doctor's like, please don't lift like 500, please don't deadlift like 500 pounds. Like, don't do that. But like, I think the last time I went to the gym, the last time I deadlifted, I was at like 110 or something, 115. But basically I have no real like limitations other than my calories, and my, obviously like I would never be able to compete. I cannot compete in marathons and I can't compete in like competitive swimming because anything that like sustains the heart rate for long periods of time is actually really detrimental to me, because my heart's technically, I'm sure you know, your heart's the size of your fist. And my heart's a little bit bigger than that. And so it already works hard enough as it is. And like the sustained work of like the heart beating faster is actually detrimental. So that's why doctors have said no competitive sports because I'm on blood thinners. And if I would get hit internally, and because I'm on blood thinners, it takes longer for me to clot. So it'd be more detrimental if I got hit and bled internally. And no like sustained sport like competitive swimming, things like that. But I really don't have any limitations other than don't lift 500 pounds, which is fine.
So you, having gone through all these traumatic experiences in your life, and you know, there's a lot of people out there that have these kind of same issues, maybe more, maybe less. What motivates you just to say, I'm not giving up, I'm going to keep going? I mean, besides the stubbornness that comes with your heritage.
People telling me I can't. Like the fact that my doctor told my mom and dad that I had a 1% chance of living. I'm like, okay. I actually, the song I'm using for my show is, so my dad had told me that the doctors eventually did come back later and say we shouldn't have said that, like that wasn't right for us to say. But I didn't know that until a few years ago. So the song that I'm actually doing is kind of like a look at me. I'm still gonna, I'm using the song Survivor. So I'm going to start with, if I can do it correctly, because now that I know how to do some audio mixing, I'm going to actually start with 16 Tons by Jeff Castellucci, because why not? Because that man.
Voice play, same thing.
Yeah, you know, actually, hold on one second. I'll be right back.
Go for it.
So that is,
wow.
You can't see it. Yeah, so he sent me that because, you know, why not?
Why not?
So I have, and that's from Tons. But I'm actually going to start with the line, one fist of iron and the other is steel. If the left one don't get you, then the right one will. And then transition in. I'm going to use that little like note skip that they use in Bands in 5 minutes between the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. If you've seen that video, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Where they go, where Lane goes down and then Ellie comes in. I'm using that note skip, and then I'm going into Survivor, and I'm using the lines. I actually have to pull up the lyrics, but it's like, it's the second. It would be the second verse. Nope, not the show. Oh. I love when you pull it up on. Oh, by the way, look at my professionalism.
Yeah, that's
So where it says, thought I couldn't breathe like I'm inhaling, thought I couldn't see without you, perfect vision. You thought I couldn't last without you, but I'm lasting. You thought I would die without you, but I'm living. Thought I would fail without you, but I'm on top. Thought it would be over by now, but it won't stop. Thought that I would self-destruct, but I'm still here. Even in my ears, I'm still going to be here. As like I can still do it. And like you told me I wasn't going to live, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to show you I will. And now I'm competing in one of the most difficult athletic endeavors ever. I'm so tired. Oh, it's every day. It's every day except for one day. It's like, it's just
wow. Well, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad we could have this time to talk about your story and get that information out there. I did put the link to your YouTube channel in our chat. To wrap this up here, let's just kind of speedball some quick, easy questions. You know, we've been very serious about this whole situation, and we don't want to discount that because this is an incredible story, and everyone I think should take inspiration from this. But let's get into some easier stuff. Favorite kind of movie genre you watch?
Comedy or historical fiction.
Give us a couple of examples of movies that will be in those.
So actually the first movie my husband and I saw was Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I love Harry Potter, the Harry Potter series. I like a couple, like, what other movies? Greatest Showman, movies like that. So yeah.
How about music genres that you really get into?
Hard rock. If you've seen my channel, Disturbed is one of my favorite bands. I'd grown up with them. I was 9 when I started listening to them, and of course the first song I listened to was Down with the Sickness. So a 9-year-old listening to Down with the Sickness, my dad was thrilled.
Sure.
I didn't understand at the time, but now I get it. So like them, Five Finger Death Punch, Shinedown, obviously Voice Play. You know, bands like that. I mean, I'm pretty open to pretty much anything. But not like screamo. I
was about to ask, what's the music genre that you do not enjoy? So it's screamo. Be that?
Yeah. Screamo. Yep.
I feel that. I'm not a big screamo guy myself.
Yeah. No.
But since you're on a specific diet, as you talked about earlier, the 1,200 calories and so many grams of fat, carbs, and protein. Is there room for a cheat meal in there?
Yes and no. I mean, I do kind of sometimes cheat, but that's going to be after my show. I told my husband after my show, eating whatever the fuck I want and doing whatever the fuck I want, not doing anything for about a week because I'm going to be exhausted.
Yes.
So, I mean, like I have pizza. I just, everything in moderation really. But, yeah, pizza is
Lydia
like
in the chat. Harry Potter.
Oh.
Thank you, Lady Ariana, for hanging out, and everyone else that's been hanging on the chat here today, watching this stream here. Let's talk about. So we talked about TV. We talked about movies. Let's talk about TV. Favorite TV shows.
I watch a lot because I'm 80 years old in a 30-year-old's body. I watch a lot of game shows. I love I like First 48, a lot of true crime stuff, First 48, Cold Case Files, game shows. My husband and I started watching a show called Face Off, which is like makeup and stuff, like crazy SFX, so like special effects makeup, just things like that. Big Bang Theory, I watch Big Bang Theory.
Yes, love Big BT.
So different things like that.
Yeah, we got heavy into BDT for a while. The last few seasons kind of but
Yeah, I watched it for I don't think I mean, like, I saw the last episode, but like I don't remember. I don't think I watched like all of the seasons like from start to finish. But a lot of shows like that, it's kind of hard. The show Monk from a couple years ago. So a lot of like true crime or like game shows or things like that.
Mm-hmm. Besides singing, any instruments you play?
I want to learn piano, but in my infinite amount of spare time that I have and the infinite amount of money that I have, I don't have the ability. I do definitely want to learn to play piano though, and just
Favorite kind of food?
Oh, I don't know. That's hard. I like Indian food, like chicken tikka. I mean, I'm pretty good. I pretty much eat anything. I'm not a huge seafood fan, which is hard because in Lent, I'm not allowed to eat meat on Fridays.
Oh, right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we eat some fish, but it's not my thing. But, I don't really have a favorite food. I just like whatever I'm in the mood for, unless I can't eat it because my trainer says I need to not eat a bajillion calories in a day.
Right. Yeah. So
yeah.
Kind of a factor like that.
Yeah.
You have a master's degree. What does that in?
I do. It's called public history. So working in a museum, or in my case, I'm an archivist for the Diocese of Pittsburgh. So I work with a lot of the churches that have been closed or merged throughout the past couple of years. But my degree would allow me to work as like a curator in a museum, or like the people who put up the exhibits, like who's like actually physically set up the exhibits. I could do that. But so it's called public history, but it's basically history, but you could work in a museum or you could teach.
Yes.
But I don't want to teach.
Pretty much all you can do with a history thing. You want to teach or work in a museum? Yeah.
Well, so I had a communications degree in college and then master's in public history. So my field was very limited. I actually wanted to be a ESPN sports broadcaster. Until I did a course in college where I did like an archiving. We did like a class of archiving, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. So I did that. But yeah, I originally wanted to be a sports broadcaster, so communications and then history. So
that you had a clear path with that one too, and that's fine. Who knows? Who knows what could happen in the future? You never know.
You never know.
When it comes to I just had the question. I lost it. This is where we improvise, ladies and gentlemen. Just festering in my head right now. I'm wasting time trying to get the question back in my head.
Okay.
Here it is. I'm kidding. It's not really there. So, this is the professionalism we have here on YouTube.
That's great.
So, that's right. So once again, link is in the chat, and it's also the link to her YouTube channel is going to be in the description. Please go there, check out the videos, like, subscribe, all that cool stuff. When you're out there when you're out there in the gym and you're working out and so forth, what is a lot of people are intimidated by going to the gym or working out in general because they feel like, oh, they're going to be judged 9 times a Sunday about what it is. So what advice can you give to people out there that just to get over that anxiety?
So for me, a lot of it is everybody has to start somewhere. Like I know that I have a friend of mine who's a power lifter, and I'm like, I know I'm never going to be able to lift as much as him. 1, because of my heart condition, and 2, I just physically will never be able to lift as much as him. I'm smaller than he is. I'm 5'3". He's like 5'8". So, and obviously it's a man versus a woman. But mainly it's just, everybody's got to start somewhere. And if you're really intimidated or like you really don't know how to start, like go up. Usually it's the what do you call it? The saying that, the biggest guy in the gym is the nicest is very true.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you're going to have your meatheads who are like, oh, I'm, a bodybuilder and like, I'm Mr. Olympian. And
hey,
like,
you're not doing it right.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to have your meatheads, but
hey, bro, you worked out the traps today, bro.
Yeah, exactly. So you're going to have those people, but like a lot of the people there are actually really willing to help. You just got to, say, eventually you just got to be like, you know what, if you really don't know, like ask someone, or ask like the person that somebody who works there, and be like, hey, you know, do you have a personal trainer that I could maybe talk to, and just not, you know, have a training session, but like they could tell me where to start, or like what exercises to do. And a lot of the times, believe it or not, a majority of the people are listening to music and they are not even paying attention.
No,
I do it. So it's kind of funny. I listen to voice play when I'm at the gym. I have my voice play my gym playlist is Valhalla Calling is the first song. Then My Mother Told Me, then a Disturbed song, the song Unstoppable by Disturbed off their new album. The song, it's a song by Daughtry. Heavy is the Crown. Get Back Up or something from Five Finger Death Punch, and then the rest is voice play. And like Seven Nation Army, I have Seven Nation Army on there. I have like a lot of their harder core songs. So half the time I look like I'm about to kill someone when I'm at the gym, because I have this look on my face where it's just like, yeah, I'm like, well, first of all, how can you not listening to Valhalla Calling and Seven Nation Army? Because I'm pretty sure they're all going to go kill someone at some point, especially Mr. Jacobson with his bat and his black eyes. And then Jeff just growling at everybody. Jeffrey. But no, so kind of going back to your question, basically just do what you want, because no one's really paying attention. I mean, some people might look over at you, and like if they really see you doing something wrong and they actually are really nice, they'll come over and be like, hey, that, you know, maybe you should try it this way, or maybe you should do it that way. But 9 times out of 10 people are not paying attention, or they're just trying to like.
Last question to ask you: dream vacation.
Oh God. I don't know. I want to go to either.
It's unwritten check. Any place in the world you want to go. What is it?
I want to go to either like an island, like the islands, or go back to like Scotland, England. Spent a semester in London and went to Scotland. The Highlands were absolutely stunning. You know, different place, or like even somewhere in like the Alps. I'm not a skier, excuse me, but I just love to like go into like the countrysides of like go see the castles and, you know, things like that. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, Sophia McGonigal, thank you so much for spending time with me and being so open to talk about your story. It is fascinating. It is inspirational. And I want everyone out there to support you in your endeavor, getting ready for this, which is, you said 8 weeks, 6 days, was it?
8 weeks and 6 days. April 27th in
Mars Peak. We're not counting.
No, we're not. We are not. We have not been counting since 16 weeks. 14 weeks. Sorry, 14 weeks. Yeah, it's in Mars, PA. I'm actually doing.
What is it called?
What's that? It's called Best of the Berg. Best of the Berg.
Okay.
It's in Pittsburgh. Best of the Berg OCB. I'm actually doing 2 parts of it. One is the body transformation, and then my bodybuilding. And as of now, I am the only competitor in my division. So it might be good. I'm kind of hope it is. I kind of hope I'm the only one, because I'm very nervous about it. And I would, you know, I kind of want the first one I don't want to say like an easy win, but like I'd much rather compete against myself than compete against people who've been doing this for quite a while and then being like, well, I'm not going to be good enough. So I don't know. As of now, I'm the only one.
Even if that's the case and other people do show up, that's experience that you can learn from.
Right. Exactly.
So there's a positive and all that stuff. And if there's anything to take away from your life and your story, is that you got to keep on going, keep pushing forward, never give up. And like the t-shirt says, never stop playing. Cheap plug. And because it's all about not stopping. There you go.
Huge Pens fan. So
there you go. So keep that going. Keep on doing what you're doing, Sophia. Really appreciate you coming by here. Thanks. Keep us updated on how things go. Good luck to you with that. And hopefully we'll be having you back on sometime in the future. Thank you so much again. Appreciate it. Everyone subscribe to her, subscribe to the channel, like, comment, do all the cool stuff. We'd really appreciate it. In the meantime, my friends, keep those horns high.